Hello children, welcome to your biology class. Do you recall last class what we read? Yes, discovery of cells. What is a cell? Organisms show variety in cell number, shape and size. In that we read about the cell number, unicellular or multicellular. Two of the examples of unicellular organisms we read, amoeba and paramecium. Today I am going to start with that is the shape of the cell. Amoeba has no definite shape unlike other organisms. So other organisms, they have got a definite shape, whereas amoeba, it does not have a definite shape. Here you see in the diagram this part which have been marked, these are called the pseudopodia. Pseudo means false and podia means fit. This protruding part, actually these are the cells, these are the pseudopodia, which helps it to capture food and to move. So amoeba does not have a fixed shape, but other organism has. It is quite interesting to know that is a white blood cell in human body. The white blood cell or WBC, white blood cell or WBC in human blood is another example of a single cell which can change its shape. So example of a cell which can change its shape, that is in human body, is WBC or white blood cell. But white blood cell is a cell, it is a cell, whereas amoeba, it is a full-fledged organism capable of independent existence. That is, it is an organism, and it is a self-sustaining unit. That is, it shows all the life processes shown by the multicellular organism. Now, what shape would you expect in organisms with millions of cells? So human being, they have got trillions of cells. The other day we read about, and certainly it has got different shaped cells. Some of these which are shown over here, see, three of these. One A, that is the spherical shaped, which is the red blood cell. B, which is the muscle cell, which has got pointed ends. These are the pointed ends, and the middle portion which is broad. So this is muscle cell, and the nerve cell or the neuron, it has got branched part. These are the branched part, and it has got an elongated part. Now the function of the nerve cell is it transfer messages and helping to control and coordinate the working of the different parts of the body. This branched part helps it to receive the message, and this elongated part helps it to transfer the message to the other neuron. So here you understand that is the shape of the cell is related to its function. The shape of the cell is related to its function. Now, which part of the cell gives its shape? Which part of the cell gives its shape? Components of the cells are enclosed in a membrane. Components, that is the parts of the cell which are enclosed in a membrane. This membrane provides shape to the cells of plants and animals. Cell wall is an additional covering. So one you have got membrane, the other you get cell wall, is an additional covering over the cell membrane in plant cells. So plant cell has got another covering. And what is the function of this? It gives shape and rigidity to these cells. Bacterial cell also has a cell wall. Bacterial cells also have got a cell wall. Now, as I show you, this is the cell membrane which is actually present in both the plant and animal cell. And in plant cell, it has got an extra boundary. It has got an extra boundary or extra covering, that what we say the cell wall. So here you see this membrane, which is called, it is got a membrane, and this what we say cell membrane or plasma membrane, which gives shape to the cell. It is present in both plant and animal cell. It has got the nucleus, it is the other component, and the fluid which is present inside, that is called the cytoplasm. Again we are going to read about this. Now size of the, so this is the cell membrane which gives shape to the cell. Now the size of the cell, so size, that means what, certainly most of the cells which are microscopic, some of the cells which may be big, which can be seen with unaided eyes. But see, the size of the cells of living organisms may be as small as a millionth of a meter. It may be as small as a millionth of a meter. That is the unit told, that it is the unit, that is micron. I give you an idea what is size of micron. Micron, 1 millimeter, you have the idea, 1 millimeter divided into 1000, divided to 1000 times, and one part of it is called 1 micron. So you can understand how small these are. See, 0.1 to 0.5 micron in certain bacteria, that is the size, whereas big cells like 170 millimeter into 130 millimeter is the, it is the size of an egg of an ostrich. So it may be big like that, or it may be very small like few microns. Now the size of the cell has no relation, it is very important to know, that is the size of the cells has no relation with the size of the body of the animal or plant. The size of the cells has no relation with the size of the body of the animal or plant. For example, a rat is a small organism in comparison to that of an elephant. Elephant is smaller than that of a blue whale. Doesn't mean that is the elephant has got smaller cells than that of blue whale, or rat has got smaller cells than that of elephant, or so the size may vary, the size of the organism may vary, but the cell's size does not vary with that. Let us see. The size of the cell is related to its function. So the size of the cell is related to its function. For example, nerve cells. So for example, nerve cells both in elephant and rat are long and branched. So it is long and branched. And what is their function? They perform the same function, that is transferring messages. So the size of the cell does not it is not related to the size of the organism, rather it is related to its function. Next comes the cell structure and function. Cell structure and function means, what is that? Cell, it is the basic unit of life. So the basic unit of life, that is, it is also the smallest unit of life. Now in multicellular organism, this group of cells, it performing a particular function, it makes the tissue, and group of tissue forms an organ, and group of organs form the organ system, and this organ system makes the body of the organism. So this way the body is organized and it is functioning. Okay. Now the parts of the cell. So next is the parts of the cell. In a cell, what are the parts? First is the cell membrane. I showed you, but first is cell membrane. The basic components of a cell are cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. The cytoplasm and nucleus are enclosed within the cell membrane, also called the plasma membrane. The membrane separates. Now I showed you here the cytoplasm is the jelly-like substance which is present inside the cell. Nucleus is the dark spherical structure which is present, and these are bound by this membrane, that is called the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. And outer to this, in case of only plant cell, it has got another boundary or another covering, that is called the cell wall. It is called cell wall in plant cell. Now, what may be the function of the plasma membrane? See, the function of the plasma membrane, the membrane separates the cell from one another and also the cell from the surrounding medium. Like if it is single cell organism like amoeba or paramecium, their membrane separates it from its surrounding, whereas the other organisms which are multicellular organisms, at least one cell is being separated from the other cell by the cell membrane. Number one, the plasma membrane is porous and allows the movement of substances or materials both inward and outward. It gives shape to the cell, it gives shape to the cell, and it allows the entry and exit of substances from the cell or inside the cell. It also protects the inner content of the cell. So these are the functions of the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Now to see the parts of the cells, right now I have told the basic three components of the cell or the parts of the cell: cell membrane, nucleus and the cytoplasm. So we can see this in the onion peel, that is the pink basic components of the cell. So we can remove the dry pink covering or the peels of the onion, and after that we have to take the scales of the onion from the concave side, a thin transparent membrane as we take, and color it and place it under the microscope. You can see these are the structures where, see, this is the nucleus and the cytoplasm, and see, these are the cell walls are also been observed in the microscope. And we can see the cells of the onion peel and the cheek cell, that is human cheek cell, that is from the human body. If we can take out the inner lining of the cheek and we can get this one, it also have got the nucleus, it has got the cytoplasm, and it has got irregular shaped cell membranes. Actually it is not shaped irregular boundaries in fact. So this is called the cell membrane, and it is, see, the nucleus which has got the nucleus, this is nucleus, and it has got the nuclear membrane, the membrane or which is surrounding this is called the nuclear membrane. So these parts which we can see in the cell, chick cell, that is example of an animal cell, and onion cell, that is the example of a plant cell. Here you see, that is cell membrane gives shape to the cell. Already you have discussed about this. The cell membrane gives shape to the cell, and the in addition to the cell membrane, there is an outer thick layer in the cells of plant cells, that is called the cell wall. That is called the cell wall. This additional layer surrounding the cell membrane is required by plants. For what reason it is required? It is present only in plant cell for number one, protection. And see, plant cells need protection. So why do they need this extra protection? Because this protection against variations in temperature, high wind speed, atmospheric moisture, etc. They are exposed to these variations because they cannot move. So they are fixed in one place and they have to face these variations in the environment. So they require an extra protection which is provided by the cell wall. And another one, that is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the jelly-like substance present between the cell membrane and the nucleus. It is the jelly-like substance present between the cell membrane and the nucleus. Various other components or organelles of cells are present. So it has got, like, if here's the cell membrane, you can see the chick cell, here the cell membrane, this is the nucleus, and the jelly like substance over here, this is actually called the cytoplasm. And in this cytoplasm you will get, there are various cell organelles. And what are the cell organelles? For example, this mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, these are the cell organelles. You will learn about them in later classes. So today up to this much. So what we have learned about, let us find out what we have learned. First we started with the shape of the cells. First one, the shape of the cells. Second, we read about the size of the cells. Then third, we read about the cell structure and function. We read cell structure and function. Fourth, we read, that is the parts of the cells. Out of these parts of the cell, we discussed about the cell membrane and the cytoplasm. Discussed about cytoplasm. Today up to this much. Thank you, children.